periodic table. What exactly is the periodic table and how is it set up? The periodic table is an arrangement of elements in order of atomic numbers, in which elements with similar properties are grouped in things called groups. The periodic table, if you take it and describe it into sections, there is something called a period and, as you already know, a group. Though they are both sections on the periodic table, they are different from each other. A period is a place on the periodic table in which there is a horizontal row of elements. A group, on the other hand, is a place on the periodic table in which there is a vertical column of elements, also called a family. Now, you may be asking yourself, what are elements and all the symbols on the periodic table? Firstly, as I also stated above, in the groups and periods, there are things called elements. Each element tile has major details in which contribute to how the element is made up itself. As you can see on the screen, the 1 or 2 letters on the element tile are called the symbol for that specific element, and some, but not all, periodic tables also list the names of these elements. Nextly, underneath the symbol, there are numbers with decimals. These numbers are the atomic mass of the element. The atomic mass is the average mass of an element's atom and usually increases with the atomic number. Lastly, you may be wondering what in the world is an atomic number. An atomic number is the number that lies on top of the symbol and represents the number of protons in an atom's nucleus. What are protons, electrons, and neutrons? These 3 substances are the parts of an atom and help determine what qualities the atom and element has. Each of these have their own charges to them. For example, the proton has a positive charge, the electron has a negative charge, and the neutron has a neutral charge. How can we use these 3 different substances to calculate one another? Firstly, the element's atomic number is the amount of protons in an element's atom, so you really don't need to calculate anything to find out the protons if you have a periodic table because it is given to you right there. To find out the number of electrons is almost as easy as protons. All you have to do is find out how much electrons there are and figure out the number of protons there are, because atoms must have an equal number of protons and electrons so they can stay balanced. To remember how to find out how much protons and electrons there are in an atom, just remember the term ape. If you break down the term, A represents the atomic number, P represents the number of protons, and E represents the number of electrons. And if you haven't noticed, they are all the same number. So, when you need to find out any of those 2 terms, just think ape, because they are all the same. Lastly, along with protons and electrons, the only thing that is left are neutrons. To calculate the number of neutrons in an atom, you have to find the mass number, and to do that, all you have to do is round the atomic mass to the nearest whole number. After you get the mass number, you subtract the atomic number from the mass number, and there you have it, the number of neutrons in an atom. Lastly, the most basic part of the periodic table is how it is split up. The periodic table is split up into 3 main categories, which are metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Before I tell you the positions of these categories throughout the periodic table, I will name to you some of the characteristics of each of these. Metals have characteristics like shiny, solid, ductile, and malleable. The nonmetals, on the other hand, contain characteristics such as brittle, ductile, poor conductors of heat, and tend to gain electrons in chemical reactions. Lastly, metalloids have their own unique characteristics that in a way cross between metals and nonmetals. Here's the most important part. Metals are found in the upper left semicircle, the nonmetals are found on the more right side, and the metalloids are found in the stepladder between the 2. In general, the periodic table is a very easy and interesting topic. I hope I helped you get a clear image on what it is and exactly how it works. Thanks for watching!